And there's nobody could do anything about that. I've seen that happen quite a few times. And I think this is like the first time it happens to me in this game after about 100 games. Ricky Henderson is going to lead it off against Mike Torres. Here goes. Bottom of the first, it's a 61. That's a blank. Torres is a B, and that's a strikeout. So Jim Rice, I didn't get the line drive to first base. Double play. And it's going to be a strikeout. Henderson. One down. Here's Mitchell Page now. I figured out how to track the lineup now, the batting order. I was able to get it in order, thank goodness. And it's going to be a fly ball to left field for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down. So Mitchell pokes it in the opposite direction, and it's Jim Rice who's there for the catch. Appa Bryan in the house. Great to see Appa Bryan. He has a lot of fun with the video, the video dimension of what we do. He does creates a lot of Godzillas, CGI Godzillas to run around his table and stuff like that. I'm very old school. Don't have that advanced technology knack. So it's Dave Revering. Dave Revering is going to end up with the Yankees in 1981. All right, that is a 43. That's a blank. And that's going to go to the out section. We're going to get a line out back to the pitcher. Line drive 1, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down. All right, Matty Keough in the top of the second inning. Now, I replayed this game. I'm replaying the same season, the same set of games with 2 different systems. I'm using Replay Baseball, the original, and then I'm using Fall Classic Baseball. This is the second time I replayed these 32 games. I want to see how my results are a little bit different, so I'll know a little bit more. It's a 36, and that's a blank. And on Keough, 36 is going to be he is a righty, so that is going to be a ground ball to third base, I believe. Let me look at the quick outs chart on my left. And a 15 will be, actually it was a ground ball to short. We'll just turn that to 6. 1 away. Carl Yastrzemski's next. I'm going to just hold the cards. It's probably easier for me. Let me just get them into view. And Carl Yastrzemski with a 62. That's a blank. So we go to Matty Keough. 62 is 1 to 6 is a strikeout. That's a 5. Yastrzemski swings and misses at an outside pitch. 2 down. And it's Jim Dwyer. There's a pitch to Jim Dwyer. That's a 31. That's a blank, and that is a ball through the infield for a base hit. So Dwyer is on with a single, a 2-out single for Dwyer. And what I'm going to do here is this, my friends, because I'm having to do a little bit too much. So this is going to give me a little bit more. As you can see, I got a new dice tower that I'm showing off. You can pick these up at Michigan and Trumbull. There is a 2-month wait. And after I show it, there'll probably be a 3 to 4 month wait. I already put it up on a couple of the Facebook groups. It's pretty gorgeous, and it's absolutely quiet. You did not hear. It's probably the quietest dice tower I've had, and I've had another pretty quiet one, but I had to get rid of it. It just wasn't working for me because I needed to modify it because the dice weren't coming out of the tower part. So I would have to peek into the dark to try to read one of the dice, and that was driving me nuts. So I said, you know what? I got to start fresh. I can't be fighting with this. But that was pretty quiet, but this one's quieter. So it's Butch Hobson, 2 outs, runner on first. We are in the top of the second. This is Fall Classic Baseball. You're watching Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV. And this is going to be a 16. That's going to be a swing and a miss. The high cheese gets Hobson to chase, and that my friends, is the end of the inning. One hit, one left, no runs. And here come the Oakland A's, the 1980 Billy Ball A's. This is a lot of fun playing the Billy Ball A's. You can do crazy stuff, and it's all realistic. You know, just take tons of risks, and it's all realistic. Wayne Gross. And what is that? Oh, that is going to be a 44. That's going to be line drive base hit. Gross is on with a leadoff single. Armas got good power, hit 35 home runs. He's always a threat. Mike Torres is on the mound for the Red Sox. That's a 63, and that's a blank. We're going to go to Torres, and that's going to be an out. What kind of an out? It's going to be a ground ball out. It's going to be to the shortstop, a weak throwing shortstop. No way that Burleson is a weak throwing shortstop. There's just no way. So that's going to be a 6-4-3 DP. But you know what? I don't know everything, and I could be wrong, but I have Boston. Burleson is a strong throwing shortstop. So he's probably one of the better shortstops in the league. From what I remember in 1980, I was still watching a lot of baseball in 1980. Probably 76 through 84, 85 were the years I watched the most baseball. 86, I guess. 35. Let's see, that's a blank for Newman, and a 35. This is going to be a line drive base hit for Newman to left center field, cut off by the left fielder right, so it's a 2-out single. And here is Mike Davis. Did it come out of here? There it comes. So you got to really flip them down. And this one is getting stuck in there. There it is. That's the larger one, and that's getting stuck in there. It's a pretty narrow, tight spot. So when he created this, he made it pretty narrow. I guess he didn't calculate the huge size of the D20 that I have. I'm going to probably have to look and see. This one, I believe, is a little smaller. I have another smaller D20. Yeah, look at that. Look at the size difference there. All right, so this is going to be a 34. Davis, a 34 is a blank. Mike Torres, a 34 is a base hit single. Let's see where the runner goes on this. Base hit to left field. And runner's on first. Hold or run with risk. The left fielder is an A, so that's 1 to 3. He's out. So that is one risk, one with risk. And you know what? This is the Billy Ball A's, so we're going to try to make it to third with 2 outs. Why do you want to make the third? Why would I want to make the third out at third base? Think about that. When Gross will already be in. Oh, wait a second. This is Davis. So I got a base hit from Newman. Right? I got a base hit from Newman. And now back to back. I think I wrote back to back 34s. So he's going to hold a run with risk. And he's going to hold his second base with 2 outs. And then Davis is going to get a same 34. And this is going to be run around second. F advances, S and A hold unless there's 2 outs. And then we're going to roll for an assist. And the ball is going to be to center field. In center field is going to be Dwyer, who's an A2. So we're going to roll a 6-sided die to see if he scores. Let's find a smaller 6-sided die. Here's one. We'll use a red one. Now 1 and 2, he is out, and it's a 2. So he's thrown out at the plate. So Gross on a single tries to score, and it's thrown out 8-2 to retire the side. So that's a good point. So really never with 2 out going from first to third. That makes really no sense. You don't want to make the third out at third base, and you don't want to make the first out at third base. So why would you risk, with 1 out even, unless the odds are really in your favor? just doesn't make any sense. And that's pretty much basic 101. So unless you know you're going to be safe, you definitely, and there's plenty of opportunities to make it to third base in the game, already woven into the game, without pushing it and saying, well, there's not enough chance for me to make it to third base, and I want to have a more fluid game where there's more chances to advance. And okay, all right, that's a good argument, but you're not going to do that. You're not going to risk really with to make the first out of third. So you're not going to do it with no outs, right? You're not going to do it with no outs, and you're not going to do it with 2 outs. So that's actually and obviously you're not going to do it with nobody on, right? So there's only one opportunity for you to really risk first to third, and that is with 1 out. Or if you know for sure, it's like 80% chance that you're going to make it. Think about what I'm talking about, and respond. If you go to Delphi Forum, go to Delphi Forum Fall Classic Baseball. There's a big discussion on hit and run. And the arm ratings, the S arm rating and the A arm rating and the weak arm rating. They're saying that it's too hard to move from first to third on an S, so nobody's doing it. Okay, but that's what an S is for. So everybody has second thoughts. And it's too easy to do it on a weak arm, but I'm not going to, all right, so it's too easy to do it on a weak arm. I don't know. Is it or isn't it? There's, first of all, I have no weak arms. Let me look, see if there's a weak arm in either one of these in the outfield. Okay, I got Jim Rice, who's an average arm, Jim Dwyer, who's an average arm, and Dwight Evans, who's an average arm. So I have, on the Boston side, there's no outfielders where the weak arm would come into play. First of all, I told him that hardly ever happens. There's hardly any weak arms in the outfield. Now for the A's today, it's going to be, okay, for the A's in left field, we have Henderson, who has a strong arm, Murphy, who has it. Oh no, actually Armas is in center today. He's got an A arm. And then in right field, it is Davis, who has an average arm as well. So there's no weak arms in the outfield. So why am I worried about something like that? Now, you may play a team that has a couple, I don't know what team. Let me see if I can find a team here. I got a bunch of teams. Yankees have Rupert Jones and Bobby Brown in center. They both have average arms. Now, Reggie Jackson has a weak arm in right field. So you can move up, you can take the extra base on Jackson. And then Lou Piniella has a weak arm in left field, but everybody else has an average arm. So only if Lou Piniella is playing left field will you have that issue. But Mercer plays out there, Gamble plays out there, Bobby Brown plays out there, Joe Lefevre plays out there, Paul Blair plays out there. So, let's look at this team. We already did the Red Sox. Let's look at the Royals. Royals have Willie Wilson with an average arm, Amos Otis with an average arm, and Clint Hurdle with an average arm in the outfield. So that would never come into right field. Let's look at the Rangers. Rangers have Al Oliver with an average arm, Mickey Rivers with a weak arm, but Billy Sample has an average arm. So you may have to pull Rivers. And then you have Johnny Grubb with an A arm in right field and Richie Zisk with a strong arm in right field. So every so often in every team, there may be a guy, but there's so many factors that have to align, right? All the planets will have to align for this to really show up as either an opportunity or not an opportunity. Let's look at the Baltimore Orioles. On the left, they have Gary Renicky and John Lowenstein, both have average arms. In center, they have Bunbury and Renicky, both have average arms. And in right, they have Singleton and Renicky, both have average arms. So again, I'm trying to prove to you my point. Is this what I was looking for before? No, this is not what I was looking for. So lately I bought a new printer and I've been trying to fix them and align them to all the 6 or 7 computers I have around the house. And I think we did the Cleveland Indians already, right? Did we? Or no? No, I didn't. Delaunay in left field has an average arm. Manning in center field has an average arm. But George Orta, when he plays right field, because he also plays left field, he has a weak arm. But Bannister plays out there and Delaunay plays out there, and they have average arms. So in the seventh inning, I would put George Orta, in. I would pull him or let him play DH. But he played most of the games, because here it tells you how many games. He played most of the games in right field. So you're going to be able to move on the right fielder if a risk comes up. But you may play the whole game and there may never be a risk with a ball hit to right field. So why am I losing sleep over such a thing? It's just like nitpicking things that don't come up, Now, sometimes there's justification for saying, hey, you may have not, realized that this may happen a lot more often than you think, but let's look at the data and let's look at that. So anyway, that's my mini rant. And I try to make an argument, and I try to prove that, hey, risk came up here in this situation, but you're not going to really, with an average guy, with a guy with an average arm, it's 50-50 chance. You don't want to make that third out at third base. You don't want to make the first out at third base. So you shouldn't really try it at 50-50. Now, if it was much easier, sure, you try it, because most of the time you're going to succeed. But the whole idea, it's like if the whole game were designed where nobody ever makes it to third base, I would say, yeah, you need more of a chance. Because I played a game for 200 or 300 games where the base running was stagnant. You'd go from first base to second base to third base. The bases would be loaded, and then the guy would hit a single. You would advance one base. And that's how it would keep on going around, just base to base to base to base. So I reached out to the designer. I reached out to the designer. I said, listen, what stats do you have on guys going from first to third? I just read that guys go from first to third 50% of the time. That's what I read. I don't know if that data is correct. Okay, but I did read that somewhere. So I asked them, how often do guys go on first to third? And of course, with to right field, they're going to definitely go to first to third more often than with balls hit to left field. And then, of course, if it's a center field gap shot, they're going to go from first to third more often than if it's right at the center field. So there's a lot of, issues, and we have to look at that data to really know. Otherwise, you got to go by feel. And my feel may be different from your field. If your feel is different from my feel, it doesn't make me right and you wrong. It makes you the commissioner of your damn league. So if you're the commissioner of your damn league, make the rules you want. And that's how it works. These are games, and they're designed by human beings, and human beings, there's some fault with them. What can I tell you? Anyway, let's go top of the third. So that's a little bit of rant for Saturday mid-afternoon. And it's going to be Dwight Evans leading it off. Here he is, Dwight Evans. We're using my new dice tower. Oh, I want to switch. So I'm going to make that a 3 there. It's a 61. That's going to be a blank. Where's my pitcher, Matty Keogh? And 61 is a strikeout. So Evans swings at a ball in the dirt. And Doug Rader. All right, that is going to be a 46. That's a ballpark with a 6. We're in Oakland, Alameda, and he is a lefty. A lefty with a 6 is going to be a pop-up to third base. Right there is Gross, makes the catch, 2 out. You get a lot of those in Alameda. Alameda has a huge foul territory. Big foul territory. So you get a lot of, it's going to be an advantage for the pitchers. So here's Rick Burleson. And we throw the dice, it's say 36. 36 is a blank. 36 here is an out. Our number is a 6. That's a ground ball to short. And that retires the side. No runs, no hits. We go to the bottom of the third. So if you have, you go check it out. Get involved in the conversation, because it's like it makes no sense. It happens so seldom. So far, it hasn't happened in this game, where the risk came up one time so far. So let's see how many more times it's going to come up. Mickey Klutz Guerrero against Torres and Henderson, top of the order. That's going to be a 54, so that's going to be a 54 chart, and it says pull a new card and go to Wild. No, go to Wilder, excuse me. Pull a new card, you go to Wilder. It says Wilder, foul pop down the line, first baseman fighting it, roll D20 versus his error rating. My first baseman's error rating, Revering's Revering is Klutz's batting, so it's my first baseman is going to be Tony Perez. Tony Perez error rating, if I can find Boston, found him. He is an error rating of 8, and we rolled a 2, so that is going to be an error. First base roll, error rating drops it, gets another chance, E3, so that is going to be an E3 on Boston, and we're going to give Mickey Klutz another opportunity. Here's a pitch from Torres. That's going to be a 41. That's a blank on Torres. That's ball 4. So Klutz walks, and here we're going to get a bunt attempt with Guerrero. Mario Guerrero squaring to move here in the bottom of the third, a scoreless tie. We're going to try to move Klutz to second. Klutz is an average speed guy, and Guerrero's a hell of a bunter. He's a 5. That's as good as it gets. We're going to roll. We're going to need to roll 5 or less twice, and that's once. So he lays it down to the first baseman. Is it going to be successful? Yes, it is. So it's a sack to the first baseman. He tags the runner, and moving to second is Klutz. We got a runner in scoring position. All right, and Ricky Henderson, here's a pitch. That's a 13. Henderson, that's ball 4. That's going to put runners on first and second. So 2 walks in this inning by Torres. And I remember Torres was susceptible to losing the plate a little bit. I remember that from watching the games back then. All right. I have a question. Is there anything in Fall Classic that limits player usage, such as Bob Hazel, who hit 403 with the Braves? And that's a great question. In about 160 at bats. Well, you want to be. You're the commissioner in your own league. Appa Bryant, if you're still here. I don't know. Guys are in and out. You're the commissioner in your own league. And for example, right here is going to tell you there's some usage stats. For pitchers, there's usage stats right here. Let's see. For fielders in the field, there are usage stats as well, games. Like Tony Armas played 151 games in right field. So that guy, Bob Hazel, I don't know what position he is. Okay. So I don't know what position Hazel is at. Can you tell me? So what you would do is print this out. This comes with the PDF. Print this out or look at it. You don't have to print it out. You can just have it on a screen. And you can look at it, and it'll tell you if like he was the catcher, like Jeff Newman played 53 games at catcher. Mike Heath played 44 games at catcher. Jim Essien was the #1 catcher at 67 games. So these guys pretty much split it 3 ways. He's an outfielder. Okay, so look in the outfielder, how many games he played in each position, more or less. And those are the games where you would play him. That's how many games you should play him. And I'm sure you had a couple of pinch hit. What I do, Appa, Brian, is I use Baseball Reference, and I pull up the game. And I try to look and see who is the starter and who is a pinch hitter. I try to use actual lineups. So that really keeps me in line. So if he's not in the lineup that day, and if I need him, I may use him as a pinch hitter. But that's not really going to allow me to go over very much in terms of at-bats. But he will get his at-bats. Now I have a new rule for injuries. I want to play, I want to play injuries because it just makes the game more realistic and more alive. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm not going to take injuries until after the 5th inning. So if he starts the game, because in reality he started the game and he had 4 or 5 at bats, and he gets injured in the 1st inning, I'm not going to pull him because then I'm going to be down 4 or 5 at bats. So I'm going to wait till at least he gets his 3rd at bat, 2nd or 3rd at bat. I'm still working on that. And then if he's injured, then I'll pull him, or I'll pull him that day. I'll make a little note next to his name, and once he gets to his 3rd at bat, then I will pull him for injury. I want to give that feel of, hey, this is a real game. It's not just stagnant. There's no injuries allowed. No, he'll get pulled, but he's going to come back. I'm just going to send him to get X-rays, and then he'll be okay. He'll tough it out, whatever it is, till the end of the season. That's usually what they did in the old days anyway. So it's first and second. It's Mitchell Page, and there's one out, and it's Mike Torres. That's going to be a 63 Page. That's a blank. So we're going to look at Torres, and that's going to be an out. What kind of an out? That's an 11. An 11 says, it's going to be a ground ball to the 3, which is the first baseman, and both runners are going to move up. Unless there's no S runners on here, so both runners are going to move up. Second and third now. So ground ball to first. Mitchell Page pulls a chopper to the first baseman, Perez, who steps on the bag. Both runners move up. And here is Dave Revering with 2 outs and 2 on. All right, here goes. See if Dave Revering can get a big clutch hit here. It's 0-0 score. And that is a 25, which is going to be against a righty, which Torres is going to be a ground ball up the middle, and nobody gets to it. That's going to go into center field for a base hit. 1 run scores, and Henderson at second base is going to come around because he is fast and he will score. So clutch hit for Dave Revering, 2 RBIs, drives in number 8 and drives in number 1, and that's how I do the RBIs. I put a circle around it, and it's a 2-run single for Dave Revering. All right, the A's are up 2-0. And it's Wayne Gross is up, and that's a 51. That's going to be a KD check. The 10 is too high. We're going to roll for an error now. It's going to be an error check on the shortstop, and that's a 10. And I can guarantee you that Burleson is much better than that. Let me see. Let me just grab the 2 that I need here because I have a whole handful of cards. I don't need all these. And Burleson, at shortstop, is going to make a diving stop up with it and flips to second base for the force, and that retires the side. So web gem by Burleson, but the A's pick up a couple of runs on 1 big hit by Dave Revering. And Dave Revering doesn't have a stellar career at all, actually. It doesn't last very long. He goes to the Yankees, has a couple of years with the Yankees, and I think goes to one other team, and then he calls it quits. Never reproduces this 1980 season where he batted .291 with 15 home runs. Never bats that high again. Let's see. Jerry Remy is up. He flied out in his first at bat. Matt Keogh, the pitch, top of the 4th. It's a 32. That's a blank on Matt Keogh. That's a double 1-6, and that's a line drive pull down the right field into the right field corner. After it is the right fielder Davis. Remy stops at second base with a leadoff double. Not the way Keogh wants to start the inning after his team puts him up 2-0. Here's Jim Rice. That's going to be a 13, and that is going to be a fly ball right field. And Remy's going to tag up. He's going to go to third on that. Deep enough to get him to third. So runner on third base. And here's Tony Perez. Infield's backward. Well, actually, we'll allow this run to score. We will allow this run to score. We're up right now 2-0. Don't want to allow it. Still only 1 out. If there was no outs, I don't know. It's not the 5th inning yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's one of my rules of thumb. I'm not worry about that until 5th inning. 23, and that's going to be a swing and a miss. 2 out. Perez down swinging. He's angry with himself. There's an RBI opportunity, which he let fall by the wayside. And here Carl Yastrzemski left the DH with 2 outs and runner on second. Can Yastrzemski get the big hit here? That's the question. Oh, that's a deep drive off Yastrzemski's bat. And that's going to be 1 hop off the wall. Remy's going to score. It's 2-1 now. And Yastrzemski into second base to throw the tag, and he is out. No, he is safe. Second baseman Klutz let the ball roll out of his glove. Looks like Yastrzemski gave him a little nudge with his knee, and the ball rolled out. So it's Jim Dwyer now. It's 2-1. Two doubles in this inning. One by Remy to lead off the inning, and now with two outs, a clutch double by Carl Yastrzemski. All right, here's the pitch. It's 23, and that is going to be a 4. It's going to be a ground ball, second base. And that retires the side. 1 run on 2 hits. It's a 2-1 ball game. We got a good ball game going. A good low-scoring ball game. I need to have that background crowd. When I don't have it, it's like I'm playing from a cemetery. So Tony Armas is going to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning against Mike Torres. I'm going to put Torres on top and put Armas on the bottom. Let's look at our little scoreboard here. I don't use it very much, but I have one. They're adorable. It's the bottom of the 4th, and it's 1-2. There you go. All right. And Tony Armas is up. Here's the pitch from Torres. That's a 33. That is line base hit, left center field. Lead off base knock by Armas. Armas grounded out in double play, his first at bat. And here's Jeff Newman. Jeff Newman has good power. That's a 26 against a lefty. That would be a single. Otherwise, it's going to be a 1 is going to be a ground ball to the pitcher, and he's going to go to second for 1. Let me just look at something real quick. I'm reading the quick outs chart, and I still don't know the quick outs chart totally because I don't really know the full charts at all. So that's the problem. So let me look at a runner on first, what that role is, and then I'll know what the quick outs chart is telling me to do. So this is really me learning the bases full. Hold on a second. All right. So runner on first, hits chart. I need the runner on first, outs chart. Runner on first, outs chart, I rolled a 1. I know it's to the pitcher, but does the pitcher have a chance to get the fielder's choice or the double play? That's what I want to take a look at. What does it say in the actual chart where it kind of gives you more information? Okay, out with a runner on first. It says ground out to pitcher. White die is a 1. It's not. Runner advances 1-3. Fielder's choice otherwise. Okay. Let me see. So it's a fielder's choice unless 1 advance. Oh, that's what that means. Okay, that's what that means. So 1 is in brackets and it says advance, and then it says otherwise 1 out at second base. Okay, perfect. That's what I thought it meant. So it's going to be a little comebacker to Torres, who turns around, fires to second to get the force there. So Newman is on at first on a fielder's choice, 1 out. And that is a 51. That's going to be a KD. A KD check with the 3 is going to be, oh, no, doesn't get it. And it's going to be a check on the second baseman, Remy. That's an 11. There's no way that Remy makes an error on an 11. And the 11 is going to turn into a double play. It's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. Remy's error rating is a 6. So that's going to be, because it's an odd number, it's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. So Remy, the Burleson back to first in time. I retired the side, no runs, 1 hit. All right, so Davis grounds out into a 4-6-3 double play. To end the inning, we go to the top of the 5th in a 2-1 ball game. So we got a close ball game here, a good, close, low-scoring ball game. That's what I like. You know, I'm a Seaver guy. Seaver always pitched in close games, but he always had terrible offensive teams, which would never come back for him. So he was always like, 20 wins and 10 losses with a 2 ERA or a 3 ERA with a 2.50 ERA. Frustrating. So Butch Hobson leading off the inning against Matt Keogh. That's a 61. 61 is going to be a strikeout. So second time Hobson swings and misses and fans. Dwight Evans. Dwight Evans, right-handed hitter. He struck out in his first at bat today. It's going to be a 63. A 63 is going to be a 6 as a ground ball to short. 2 out. And his pitch, it's going to be a 64, and that's going to be Doug Radar with a 19. That is if he's a lefty, that's going to be a fly to right. 3 up, 3 down for Keogh here in the top of the 5th inning. Got a good game going. If you got any questions, I'd like to discuss them with you about Fall Classic Baseball. I spend a lot of time reading up a lot of stuff. I find myself sometimes not knowing stuff, and that's cool. I mean, it's not like I'm the Word of God, but I try to look up stuff and keep on asking questions and learning stuff to know it a little bit better. So when I do stay up, you can always ask me and then check again until eventually, you feel super confident that you're doing it the right way. That's acceptable. There's no problem with that. But I have nice discussions on it, and I can show you stuff. I can show you where it says it if you want to, if you have a question, I can say, oh, look, if you look here, look what it says. I try to use evidence to really know. If I don't use any evidence, then I'll tell you I'm not using evidence. It's what I think. But if I can show you literally, I will, to help you learn the game. That's a 12, and that's going to be an out. A 17 is a fly to left. So you have to learn the numbers. They're really easy to learn. The 8 is a fly to center, and the 19 is a fly to right. So 17 fly to left, 18 fly to center. Anytime there's a 7, 8, or 9, whether it's a 7 or if it was a 7, right, that would be a fly to left as well. Like if I roll a 7, that would be a fly to left, the out. So this is going to tell you the out, and it tells you the number. If you know the numbers, on the box score. So I haven't put in any data for a long time into the game here. Revering is up in the bottom of the 1st, so he lines it back to the pitcher. I can do this after the game. There's no big deal. So then it goes up to Boston, and Perez grounds out and a strikeout, a single. So it's a 6-3. I'll do this after the game, a strikeout. Then Dwyer singles, and then the next batter strikes out. All right, so Mario Guerrero with 1 out. Mario Guerrero sacrificed in his first at bat. That's going to be a 53 with a 16K check. So that's going to be a range check. So you want it to be low, and a 13. Maybe a ball that gets by. It's going to be to the second baseman. And then I'm going to check with the right fielder as well. And I roll the way I do it is I roll twice. One for the second baseman. I got the 13. Second baseman 13. He's a 10. And now I'm going to roll for the right fielder. So this is a line drive over the second baseman's head. Doesn't get or by the second baseman in some way. But Dwight Evans may make the catch. Dwight Evans is a 10. And he does a diving, rolling, spinning, sliding catch by the right fielder. I don't know how to make a spinning catch, but everything else could happen. That's 2 outs. So great catch by Dwight Evans. Let's put a star on it. That'll be a web gem. You'll see that on This Week in Baseball. And it's Ricky Henderson with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Mike Torres. Mike Torres can go 29 batters. We're going to keep an eye on that. That's 25. And that is an out. That's a ground ball to third. And they throw out Henderson to retire the side. Top of the 6th. No runs, no hits. A great catch by Dwight Evans. Thanks to his range. I roll twice. I don't know if you're supposed to roll twice or roll once, but it makes sense for me to roll twice because it's 2 different players trying to catch the ball. I don't know. It's up to you. Who knows? Top of the 6th. Rick Burleson, Jerry Remy, and Jim Rice. I'm also playing this same set of games. I'm playing 32 games, starting with game 49 to 64. And then I'm going 129 to 144, I believe, or 142. I can't remember exactly. I'm playing it with Replay Baseball, the classic Replay Baseball. Let me show you the book. This goes back to the early 80s. Look at the drawing. Look how cool this is. And one of the things that really attracts me to this is check out the font. Oh, this wait a second. All right, this font is okay, but there's other font in this game, like the font on the cards. Check out the font on the cards. It's like if somebody put the card into a typewriter and typed it up. I love that, and it's in red. You know, I love that. Really cool. So anyway, old school stuff. So I'm replaying the same thing just to compare. Say, oh look what happened with the old replay versus new fast fall classic baseball. All right, we're in the top of the sixth inning. It's going to be the leadoff hitters Burleson, Remy, and Rice against Matty Keogh. Matty Keogh's given up a run so far. In reality, Matty Keogh gave up only one run. Look at that. And the A's won this game 4-1. This is from Sim Research. I think Ron Bernier is the guy who heads this project. We don't always see eye to eye, but because I don't do a lot of deferring to your status as the tabletop baseball god. I'm a little bit of a rebel without a clue. I'm like the Fonz, with the leather jacket. And that is, something that gets under people's skin. I don't defer to greatness. And Ron Bernier, he's done a lot of work on all these stats, so he feels like he should not, his opinions are absolute. They're written in stone. Nobody should challenge those. So I usually have, problems or issues with people like that. They don't take to me very well because I challenge everything. I question everything, really. But I have my times of picking and choosing what I want to question. 65 Burleson. That's going to be a home run off the pitcher, but it's a -5. A -5, and we're going to go to Keogh. Keogh's 1-12 -5. That's going to be a 1-7. 1-7, and that is a 9. So that's going to be a fly ball center field, and it's caught by Armas in center near the track. Jerry Remy, 1 out. So that was fun. And here's Jerry Remy. He is 1 for 2 with a double. Oh, a 66 Remy, and that's going to be a drive. That's going to split the outfield. Roll to the wall. Remy around second, and he's going to stop and dive back in, throw there, not in time. Hags not in time. So it's a second double, back-to-back doubles today for Remy. So he is getting to Keogh here. Sends a Keogh fastball to the wall. Jim Rice. And that 22, ooh, that's going to be a line drive base hit. Let's see what happens. And that is a fast is going to come around. Going to wave Remy home with good speed, and he will score. So the game is tied at 2. RBI. So we're going to put a 2 right here and then circle it. And Rice picks up an RBI single. Game is tied. Remy scored both the runs, and here's Tony Perez. That's going to be a 51. That's a KD check. That's a 1. KD is a 1 and a 2, and that's a strikeout. Perez downswing. Great pitch by Matt Keogh. Fastball outside, and Perez swings and misses. And with 2 outs, here's Carl Yastrzemski. Carl Yastrzemski doubled with 2 outs earlier and drove in a run. I never wrote that in. I never gave him his little circle 2 because I write 2 for the second place batter. He drove in the second place batter. Here, Rice drove in the second place batter as well. That's the way I do that. I change. I see guys do different things, and I do different things. That's a 42. That's a blank. On Keogh, 42 is going to be ball 4. So Keogh is super careful with Yaz, and he walks Yaz, and that brings up Jim Dwyer. Jim Dwyer is a lefty hitter who batted .285 with 9 home runs in half the season. So he would, if he played the whole season, he would have had 20 to 22 home runs. Jim Dwyer against Matt Keogh with runners on first and second. Here in the top of the 6th inning, the game is tied at 2. Here's the pitch. Ooh, and that's a 16. And a 16 is going to be a 12. And a 12 is a pop-up to the shortstop. And that's Guerrero, puts it away, and that retires the side. 1 run on 2 hits. The RBI single by Jim Rice. And the game is tied at 2. So we got an excellent game going here. Go to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 2. RGO would be saying, you never, ever see a blowout here. It's very unusual. They always come back at the last minute. So anyway, Mitchell Page. I asked him, do you have special dice to make sure that there's no blowouts and there's no games where teams don't come back? Do you have special dice for that? Because that doesn't happen with me. 52, that's going to be a KD check. That's a 20. So obviously, now we're going to, 52 is an error, and that's probably going to be an error out of 2. Very highly unusual. So Mitchell Page is going to ground ball to second baseman Remy, who bobbles it, throw to first, and he is safe. So Page makes it. And that's they're gonna charge Remy with an error there on that, because I believe he's a 4 off the top of my head. I'm not gonna even bother to look, but I'm pretty sure I'll bother to look. I don't want to cheat anybody. Yeah, Remy is a 6, so it is an error on Remy. Leadoff batter on safe at first on an error by the second baseman, and it's Dave Revering who's got the 2 RBIs for today. Here's a pitch. That's a 16. 16 is an out. It's a 12. That's popped up to the shortstop. So it's just from looking at the dice, you can learn the system, and that's how easy it is to play. You don't have to look for what kind of an out it is. You just can read the dice, and it tells you. Once you learn, you got to learn it. You'll understand the logic behind it. You got to get into the designer's head and what he's doing. Once you figure that out, I've used the chart like I think 4 games, and I still check it. I still have it open to my left, but Wayne Gross, still learning it. That's a 31. That's usually a base hit, and it is going to be a base hit single. We're going to see what happens with Page. Has good speed and run with risk, so I can go left field. That would be 1-3. Now there's 1 out. Now, do I be really risky? I will. I'm going to try to make it to third base, and he is out at third base. 1-3, and you see, 1-3. He is out. 4-6. He is safe. So. Tries to make it to third. It's 7-5 against Jim Rice's arm, and he's thrown out. And then all trailing runners. If a runner goes and the defense tries to throw him out, then all trailing runners advance 1 base. So Gross is going to hustle over to second base. There's 2 outs. Runner in scoring position. Again, there was 1 out, so it was okay that I do that. I don't want to make the first out or the third out of third base. So, I mean, that's enough. So that's the second time risk came up. So I'll write that in there. And the second time you can do it because of the situation. So that I got to bring that to the table in my in my argument. And I forgot to mention that, hey, you're usually not doing that, unless you're really going to be sure that you're going to make it. And Tony Armas is up. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning. And that is a 36. That's a blank. A 36 is going to be a 1-8 single. That's a base hit. That may bring a run home. And it says a weak in center field is not, or an A or an S risk. So we're going to have another risk here. So it's another risk that comes up, but we're going to risk. It is an A arm in center field. It's Dwyer out there. So we're going to risk, see if we can make it. We need a 4-6 to be safe at home. Otherwise, we're going to get thrown out a second time. And let me just make sure. Now, who comes up next? It's going to be a single. Jeff Newman's coming up next. So an A or an S arm is a risk. And I will take the risk. And will I be thrown out again? No, I am safe. All right, so it's an RBI, and the A's go up. And it says risk. If runner tries to throw him out, then the trailing runner advances. You can make a rule that says only the fast and fast runners advance, or you could just let it be the way it is. All right, so Armas goes to second on the throw home, which kind of makes sense. I could have not thrown home, right? But on a 1-3, it's 50-50, so I definitely want to throw home. Jeff Newman. And that is going to be the 54 chart. So you're going to pull that. There is a runner on second. So we're going to look at men on base, wild pitch or pass ball. It says if 16 falls within the range, the wild pitch range is 16, he is 1-3. Oh no, he's 1-18. So it is a wild pitch. So that is going to send Armas to third. So Armas goes to third on the wild pitch by Mike Torres. And that was a pretty high number. What was that? That was an 11. I doubt the catcher is going to be a pass ball on the catcher on that. Who's catching? Raiders catching. And Raider is a 4 pass ball, so that's nowhere near that. This is a 64 off Newman. That's going to be a blank. And a 1 is ground ball to the pitcher. And that retires the side. They leave a runner on third stranded, but they score a run. RBI single by Tony Armas. And that puts the A's up by a score of 3-2 with 2 hits. 2 hits, and that was going to be an unearned run because there was 1 out. Oh, wait a second. There was 2 outs on that. Yep, there's 2 outs on that RBI. So, well, he was thrown out. This is an interesting scenario. So, all right, it was a base hit. Yeah. So he threw him out there, but there are 2 outs. That's an interesting thing about. I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I'll let Ice Score figure it out. All right, so we move to the top of the 7th. Let's take a look at our scoreboard. It's going to be A's are 3 in the top of the 7th. 3-2 A's, and we are going to have Butch Hobson, Dwight Evans, and Doug Rader. Against Matt Keogh, and we're going to start looking. Matt Keogh can go 36. He can go a long way. He's not at 27 yet, and neither is Torres. Neither Keogh isn't at 27, and Torres isn't at 27. So I don't have to worry about that. Butch Hobson is going to lead it off. He struck out twice so far, and that is going to be a 36. That's a blank, and on here, 36 is a blank. 36 is going to be an out. And the out's a 10. A 10 is, that's one I don't remember. That's a line out. 10 is a line out to the shortstop. No, right this time, right field. The line out this time, right field is going to be a 6. It's a line out to right field. This is one of the only games that actually gives you line outs to the outfield, which happens a lot. You see it all the time. Guys hit it right on the screws and goes right to the outfielder. Here's Dwight Evans. Here's a pitch. That's a 65. Dwight Evans. That's a home run off the pitcher. Keogh with a 1-12, but that's going to be a deep drive to center field. On the run is Armas, and Armas tracks it down at the warning track. So the wind held that up, and that's 2 outs. And here is Doug Rader with a 43. That's a blank, and Keogh 43 is going to be a fly ball center field. Armas again there, and 3 up, 3 down. So Dwight Evans gave it a ride, but did not carry, and we go to this is the 7th inning stretch. Yes, sir. 7th inning stretch. And what do you got to do for the 7th inning stretch? Well, everybody knows what you do for the 7th inning stretch. Right? I remember baseball demo Stratomatic because he loves Stratomatic. But now lately he started to play inside pitch. He used to play this. He used to play Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I don't know if this is you can sing along at home. Bleacher Bums stopped by. That's good to see Bleacher Bums. Bears Den only remain Federal League Park. Would that be the formerly named Wiggum Park? I guess you pronounce it that way. This is a dead ball era talk. This is like a different language for me. They should have like a translation service. Dead ball to modern baseball translations. All right, so we're going back to the ball game here in the bottom of the seventh. It's 3-2 A's. Both starting pitchers are still in. That's what I like about playing the old. Old. This is not really old. If you have the dead ball guys on here, and I call this the old time, they'll laugh in my face. All right, so Mike Torres is still in there. Mike Torres will be facing Mike Davis. He's a lefty. Mickey Klutz and Mario Guerrero. Here goes. Been doing a lot of talking about the risk. If you guys are here from Fall Classic Baseball, talking about the risk factor, which there's a discussion going on in Delphi about the arm ratings, the W arm ratings, the S arm ratings, and the A arm ratings, saying there should be more of a chance for different arm ratings to do this and to do that and to do that and to do the other. And I'm analyzing that more closely. I'm looking, first of all, unless there's a really good chance to move from first to third, you don't want to risk. Think about it. Even if you're safe 4 out of 6 opportunities, I don't know if you really want to take that chance and get thrown out at third base. When you're already at second base, you're already in scoring position. Now, you can make more of an argument if you say, well, it's only 1 out of 6 chances that I get thrown out. But guess what? Even Greg, which I think he's the designer, and with all due respect, I think he was even mistaken when he says, well, I don't know. He said something that, well, it's not really 50-50, and maybe if I made it this way, it would be 50-50, but I just went over all the teams that I had here, and there's like 2 outfielders that have weak arms, where you're going to be safe 1 out of 5, or 5 out of 6 times when you go on a risk from first to third, let's say, or from second to home. There's only, out of all the teams and all the outfielders, I think it was like 10%. 10%. From what I saw, it was about less than 10% of outfielders are W arms. And they don't play all the time in the outfield. There was other guys with A arms that play in the outfield. So they're not even playing all the time. So I think it's much to do about nothing. I think it's just a lot of over-analysis. When guys get new games, it's natural to start analyzing every little aspect. But I got guys that have played like 40 games or 30 games or 20 games or 10 games. And some guys haven't played a game yet. And they're already like questioning, hey, but why is this like this? And why is this like that? And it's like, dude, you haven't played a game yet. Play some games, get some games under your belt. If you find a pattern that really sticks out in your side, like a dagger, and you're like, A6, oh, I see what you're saying. But Bleacher Bums, I saw that, and it was frustrating to me when I saw a 6. I said that anybody that runs, if there's an assist and you have to run, because with 1 out, you do have to run, you're going to be automatically thrown out from that. There's not a lot of guys I played 100 games, and there's only 1 team with 1 guy that has that 6 there. Okay. And I think it's a left fielder. So it doesn't happen very often, but the reason he made it that 6, it has to do with the time he spent in that position and the number of assists he had. And if he doesn't give him that number, based on the number of opportunities that are going to come up with the cards or with the dice, he's not going to be able to meet his assists. Yeah, you have S6. I'll show you who it was. I just played him the other day. Hold on a second. I have a guy like that, and he got, let's see. It was A6, John Grubb for the Rangers in left field. He's an A6. That means, but he only played 13 games there, Bleacher Bums. He only played 13 games out of 162. So not only would he have to be playing in the game, but you would have to get a situation where you're forced to go assist, which is sometimes on some cards it'll say with 1 out you must. Okay, so that's not going to happen very often. But look at this. Check out Mickey Rivers, who played in 133 games. He's got a W6. That means if you want to run on Rivers on an assist, you're going to get thrown out automatically. But the reason for that is a lot of guys challenged his arm. So everybody's running on Rivers, and they're going to be safe most of the time. But every so often, when you get that assist result, where it's a forced assist result where you must run with one out, it's usually with one out. There's sometimes where the assist is your choice, I believe. Yeah, you see right here. Check this out. Look. In this occasion, it says question mark assist. 2 to home, question mark assist. So if you want to try to score, you can score on an assist. So if this is to left field, and John Grubb is out there, I'm going to be out for sure. So if I know John Grubb is playing the outfield, I'm probably not even going to take that assist. I'm probably not going to try to score. Obviously, I'm not going to try to score. So that would be like, no, I'm just going to stay at third base. I'm going to hold my guy. All right, because that guy had a lot of assists. Let's look at another situation where the assist is, right here. Okay. Now this is a little bit different. This is to right field. It says hold. If one out, it says one out, it says question mark, but that's with one out. I don't know if you have to run here, because it doesn't say with one out. This may be an automatic assist. You may have to run on this. That's what, now that I'm looking at it, that we have to ask a little bit more about that. I'm not totally sure about that. So yeah, I mean, like you said, the first thing you do with your bums is you get a game, you look at it, and you say, this is a little bit more than I want to do, and you simplify it. So I'm thinking of doing that with one of our games that we like. I'm thinking of doing with one out. If you're fast with one out, and the ball's hit to right field, you take the extra base. If it's hit to center field, you take the extra base. With 2 outs, everybody else is going to take 1 base, and with 2 outs, everybody takes the 2 bases. Unless you're really slow, I could make it like if you're a 2, then you hold. But I would simplify it. I wouldn't make it like I would have to look it up and look at a lot of numbers. It's just not worth it to me. It depends how much depth and detail you want to have in the game you play. This is a personal choice, but it's not, it's a personal choice. I know that I'm a guy that doesn't want a lot of heavy detail. I don't want a lot of calculations. I want the game pretty much to tell me, okay, roll this die. If it's a 10 or less, he's safe. Or if it's 11 or more, he's out. That's okay for me. And then he gives me a choice to do it or not to do it sometimes. Then I'm happy with that. That's all I need. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So there's still. My question right now, Bleach Bumps, Anthony, is: are assists always in every situation automatic? I know if it says 1 out, then it's only with 1 out. You have to do it. Obviously, if there's no outs, you don't have to assist. And if there's 2 outs, you don't have to assist. It's probably in the rules. There's a lot of questions I ask that are in the rules, but since I don't read the rules, I don't really know all the time. I read the rules, but as I go. Like if I have a question, I'll go through the rules and I'll say, oh, wow, I haven't been doing that. But then I'll ask and then I'll find out more about it. And then I'll see other guys ask and I'll listen to it and so on and so forth. But this is a pretty simple game to follow. It's not really, you don't have to rack your brain. It's going to be Mike Davis, Mickey Klutz, and Mario Guerrero against Mike Torres. Let's see what happens here. See if more of these situations come up and we can discuss them. And it's going to be a 21, so we're looking at Davis. 21 is a strikeout, swing and a miss, and a ball out of the strike zone. Mike Davis not happy with himself. And that's he's actually 1 for 3 now. And here comes Klutz. Klutz walked and flied out. He's 0 for 1. It's a fly out. I didn't put the F right. There it is. Okay. Here's a pitch from Torres. Torres can go 29, so I got to start looking at that. So 24. That's going to be an out of 2. He's going to be a fly ball to center field. And who's out there? Jim Dwyer. Squeeze it for the out. And here's Guerrero. Yeah, so that's it. You solve your problem. You make the game the way you're the commissioner in your own league. I tell guys, you're the commissioner in your own league. That's it. Everybody has a different vision, but 65. Guerrero. That's going to be a home run -9. Listen to that. Now, this is going to take us into another question that a guy had recently about. That goes to splits. And there's no home run splits here. He has no home run splits anywhere. So that's not going to be able to go to splits. Home run -9. It is a 9, so that's going to take it to a 0. So I'm going to make it a fly ball center field. And I'm going to make it a fly ball center field. And what you could do is say, okay, you can actually roll to say that a high range guy, we'll make we'll go over the fence and bring it down. But then this could be a ball that's hit over the fence in left field. But this is not Boston Park. This is not Fenway Park anyway. Anyway, you could say that this is where he reaches over the wall to bring it in. But this is a 0. It goes from -9 home run for Guerrero, who only hit 2 home runs and almost 400 at bats. So it's a -9 on the 65. We roll the 65, right? -9. Then you look at Torres, and Torres is 1 to 9 in his B column. So that makes it a 0. So there's no chance to hit a home run. So I made it a fly out the center, and that retired the side. Just like that, I solved that problem. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose Captain Carl in the house. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. This is like a rant fest. This game is a total rant fest. I think I've done more time. I've spent more time ranting and carrying on than I've spent playing. All right, but we have a great game going here. It's a 3-2 ball game. We are in the top of the 8th inning, and and Anthony, I think this is gonna make sense to you, right? And Captain Carl as well, and to a bunch of you guys in Bears Den. If I'm looking for 3 main things in a game, right? If I'm looking at 3 main things in a game, let's say there's 3 games I want. I want seasons, right? I want nice, decent cards with all the players, right? And I want seasons. I want cards with all the players, and I want fairly realistic and easy play. That means minimal computations. Okay, and I find those 3 main things that I want in a game. I'm not going to go through every single aspect of this game and start nitpicking and finding things. Oh, I hate this. I hate that. I hate. You know what? I'm going to probably be like, you know what? Okay, could this be a little bit different? Could that be a little bit different? Could that be a little bit different? Maybe. Who knows? But those are like minor things that don't happen very often. So I can either change them myself. I can send an email to the league commissioner. That's an email to myself. And I'll just adjust it. I'll say, you know what? When this comes up, instead of this, I'll make it this. And the story I'm going to play on. Because if I write 10 things I want in a game and I wait for that game to get built, I'm going to be waiting a long time. Because every game I played so far, and I got and you've seen pictures. I will take a picture later on when I post this game. I posted pretty good games, and I'll take a lot of pictures of different things. I'll take a picture of my whole setup here. I got cards everywhere. I got 5 different games that I'm playing all at once. So I have a nit, I have a nit to pick with everyone. Right? Is it a nit to pick or is it a pick to knit? Well, I have a pick to knit and a nit to pick with each and every game. So if it was about that, about ranting, hey, so we're in the top of the 8th inning. It's a 3-2 A's lead. Can the A's hold on? That's the question. That is my question. Let's move this down a little bit. It's going to be Burleson, top of the order, Burleson, who singled, and then he grounded out and he flied out. Here goes. That's a 34. That's going to be a blank. Under B, it's going to be a ground ball to second base. That's close. Better hurry and get some by half a step. 1 out. That's a 44. That's going to be a line drive. Base hit for Remy. Strokes one into left center field. Picked up by Armas. And Remy's always a threat to steal, so Matt Keogh is going to have his hands full, keeping Remy close. Jerry Remy. So Keogh's going to throw over a couple times, keep him close. And here's a pitch to Rice that's high, and he swings at it. Remy on the run. The throw down from Newman, and not in time. Throw is offline, so now the tying run is at second base for Jim Rice. And Jim Rice lined out to the first baseman in the first for a double play. And then he flied out to right, and then he singled home a run in the sixth inning, and he tied up the game 2-2 in that sixth inning. So let's just all right. So here he is, Matt Keogh versus Jim Rice, and this is going to be a deep drive off the bat of Rice. That's going to be trouble, and that is at the track, and that's Armas at the track, at the wall, reaches up and hauls it in. Now, what you could do on that also, on those deep drives like that are almost home runs, you can allow the runner to tag up Remy, and I'm going to allow him to tag up, go to third with 2 outs. On that deep drive like that, off a hitter like Jim Rice that that has the power to drive that ball deep. So you could do something like that. Say, on home runs that are deep drives that don't go out, I'm gonna allow the runner on second to tag up, especially if he's a fast runner like Remy is. And it's Tony Perez now. Tony Perez is 0 for 3. He's grounded out to shortstop and struck out twice. So Keogh has had his number so far today. Let's see if Perez with 2 outs here can tie this ball game up. See what happens. That is going to be a 34. 34 is a blank there, and it's going to be a fly ball to right field. And that is Davis under it, squeeze it for the out, and that retires the side, no runs, 1 hit. We go to the bottom of the 8th. That was exciting. So the Red Sox had a few chances to tie up the game there in that top of the 8th inning, and they were not able to take advantage of that situation. All right, so Torres now. Torres has gone 27 batters, so he gets his batter's face limit is 29, so he's right here. Wait, 28, 29, yep. So actually, he can still face this guy, but I'm going to leave the circle there to remind me. So I'll do that sometime. I'll put the circle there. Whereas with Keogh's down here. Keogh's 36 batters, and that'll be the 4th time around the lineup. All right, so it's going to be not Ricky Henderson, but Mitchell Page leading off the bottom of the 8th. It's a 3-2 ball game. We'll take a look at our little scoreboard, our mini scoreboard. Here's a pitch to Page. That's a 36. That's a blank, and that is going to be a 1-8 single. That's a 9. So it's a line drive to the right fielder. Nope. Wait a second. Cowboy. It's Ricky Henderson who's up. 36 is a blank, so it's going to be the same result. 36 is a 1-8 single, and it's a line out to right field, F9. And here's Mitchell Page now. That's a 53. That's going to be a KD check, so that 11's too high. So we're going to roll to see. 53 is going to be a range check on both the shortstop and the left fielder. So it's a little line drive over the head of the shortstop, and Burleson reaches up and brings it down. So he robs Mitchell Page of a base hit. 2 out. Dave Rivering. That's going to be a 26. That is your splits zone. That's for Anthony, who wants more splits. That's your splits. And that's going to be a ground ball base hit off the splits. So it's a lefty-righty matchup. It's been in effect the whole game. It just happened to play out in that situation right there. And here's Wayne Gross. He's a lefty hitter. And that's going to be it for that's going to be it. And here's what I do with that. We're going to bring in Tom Bergmeyer. He's a lefty. And I get a pen. Let me do it a little bit darker so it's easier to read, so it really stands out. So Torres is out. So because he can go 29 here, he went 29, but then he gave up a hit. So so he goes 7 2/3, 7.2. And we're going to bring in Tom Bergmeyer, who's a lefty. He's really the lefty, important guy in the bullpen for the Red Sox. I want him to be well represented, so I try to bring in the guys in the right time as much as I can in these series. I'm not going to I don't play every game for the Red Sox, so I'm looking for see if I can find them. You get every player here. Crawford, Renko, Bob Stanley. Bob Stanley, isn't he the guy that was pitching to Mookie Wilson? Don Zimmer and Johnny Pesky. Don Zimmer and Johnny Pesky were the 1980 managers. Tudor, Campbell, McWhorter, Skip Lockwood. I would bring him in a different type of game. Bobby Ojeda, Luis Aponte. He must be with there he is. He wasn't with the pitchers. He was hanging out in the batting cage with the batters. All right, so here comes Bergmeyer. He's a lefty. He's facing Wayne Gross. Do you want to pinch hit for Wayne Gross? You know what? We can bring in, let's see, do we have another righty? We have a righty. Mike Heath can play. No. Wayne Gross is the third baseman. I can bring in McKay to hit for him, but I don't know if I want to bring in McKay. I don't really have anybody. I can bring Essien to Edwards. Mike Edwards plays not really play third base. I'm gonna let Gross bat against lefty. What the heck? He does have he has a home run of 25 versus righties, which is a nice thing to have. All right, here goes. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning. The score is 3-2 A's. Tom Bergmeyer got called in to pitch to the lefty Wayne Gross. We look on the bench, and we don't really see anybody worth bringing in here in a situation like this. The runners only have first base, and Wayne Gross our third baseman. We don't want to pull Wayne Gross right here. So we're going to let him bat, and actually he's got 2 hits today. He's got 2 singles. So here's a pitch from Bergmeyer. We didn't roll to see what Bergmeyer is. Let's do that. So Bergmeyer is going to be a 3, so he's going to be an A. That's bullpen A, Bergmeyer. That's what you want if you're the Boston Red Sox. So here goes. Ooh, that's a 63. That's going to be a blank, and an A is going to be a strikeout 1 to 8. That's an 11. So the 11 is going to be a ground ball to the first baseman, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to top of 9th. Last licks for the Red Sox. Can Matty Keough and the Oakland A's hold on? That's the question you must ask. I'm taking bets right here. So I'm taking bets. All right, I got to get odds for these games. I got to have some odds on the side. Figure out in a 1-0 game, in a game where a team is up by 1, and so on. What would the odds be of them holding on? I guess it's like 5-1 or 3-1. What would you say if you're a bookie? Yes, Michigan. That's SDG replays. Welcome, my brother. That is Michigan and Turnbull. But there was a 2-month wait for Christmas, and now with all these guys seeing this, and I got to show you. Let me show it a little bit better. Look at this. Look how cool that is, dude. That is Shea Stadium. Look, it's got the classic scoreboard. It's got, I worked where that flag. You see the flag in the outfield? I worked right there. There's a building right there in Flushing, Queens that had that flag waving, and that's where I worked for a bunch of years. That's my neighborhood. That's why I love this. And you see, I sent them all the little posters of all the little, except for the Stratomatic poster. It got in. I wanted one. I actually sent him a poster for all the different game systems because I wanted, I didn't know how much space he would have. But this was basically um, an homage to Tom Seaver. You got all Seaver stuff here everywhere, all his pictures. As you can see, Seaver's card, his 72 baseball card. You got him pitching for his no hitter with the Reds. You have him a lot of great pictures of Seaver. So anyway, pretty impressive, right, guys? All right, so here goes Matty Keough versus Carl Yastrzemski in the top of the ninth inning. What's going to happen? That's a 32. That's a blank on a Keough. That's going to be a double. That's going to be a drive in the gap. And that is going to put the outfielders roll to the wall. And Armas picks it up, fires into second base. The tag on Yastrzemski, and he is safe with a lead-off double. Ouch. That's going to hurt big time. And look what happened there. 32 is a blank. 32 is a double, 1-6. And look what we rolled, a 5. It's just the luck of the draw, right? The luck of the draw. All right, so up comes Jim Dwyer. So we're not going to walk Jim Dwyer because of the, we don't want to put the go-ahead run on. We're going to have to just pitch to Jim Dwyer. Now, I could pull out Matty Keough and bring in Lacey. You know what? And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring in Bob Lacey. I also got, he gets a hit against a righty on 26. So I'm going to bring in Lacey. He's a lefty, to face the lefty, to get that single opportunity out of there and move that. Lacey also had a pretty good, he had a 1.1 whip compared to Matt Keough's 1.2. So his whip is better, so he walks fewer guys and he allows fewer hits. And next, I will have Jim Jones, who is really, Jim Jones, all right. All right, so I'm bringing in Lacey to get us out of this jam. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to have to roll. So I'm hoping I get an A roll for Lacey. So he has a good bullpen session. Let's see what happens. Oh, and he does get the A. All right, so that is good news for the Oakland Athletics. So Lacey is going to be an A pitcher. So you want that for sure. And he's going to be facing Jim Dwyer. So that improves over what was Keough's B. So now I got an A going there, and I got a lefty and a righty and a righty. So I may be able to bring in Jones, but I don't know what Jones will be. So I may just let my lefty go pitch to the righties. Let's see what happens. That's going to be a 41. 41 is usually a base on balls, and it is. So that's not a terrible thing because this sets up a double play opportunity. I wasn't going to bunt with Jim Dwyer. I'm not going to. These guys aren't really bunters. Butch Hobson, not a bunter either. I could bring in a guy. Let me see Stapleton. I'm thinking about just bunting, getting that runner to third with one out. Let's see. I got a guy named Stapleton who is more of like a utility guy. This guy, Butch Hobson, is more like a power hitter. He had 11 home runs and 300 at bats. So in a full season, that would be about 22 home runs. Stapleton's more like a guy who has good bat control. Stapleton hit 7 home runs and 500 at bats, and he does. He's a better bunter. So and he can play third base. So I'm going to bring in Stapleton to bunt, and and one thing you could do here, and a lot of guys would say, yeah, that makes sense, right? For example, if we're making the switch from Stapleton actually hit 321, so we don't know if he's going to swing away or he's going to bunt. Butch Hobson, what did Butch Hobson bat? Butch Hobson batted 228. So plus we got a lefty on the mound, but Hobson was righty as well. But we're going to do this, make this change. And the way I do that, I'm going to make the pinch hitters yellow and the pitchers orange. So as you can see, the pitching change is orange, and the pinch hitter is going to be yellow. And that's going to tell me All right, so we got a first and second. Stapleton's going to come into pinch hit. And he's going to square. Now, what we could do if we want to make this more complicated, we could, right? Because this is a big, important situation in the game. We could say that all range, if I play the infield in, he goes from a 5 to a 4 on the bunt. That means on a 5 or a 6, he's out, and the bunt isn't any good. But it's going to reduce their range. So I don't think there's any plays, any range hits on the bunt, because that's all abstracted into the game. And if you want all those little factors on a bunt, you should have them accessible, but they shouldn't be mandatory all the time. Like, this is a big situation here, right? This is a huge situation, but not every bunt situation is as big as this. Some of them is just, hey, you're bunting because it's the pitcher. The pitcher in the 5th inning, you're up, 4-2, and you want an extra run, so your pitcher's going to bunt. It's not, as huge a situation as this situation right here. So you could accept that it's abstracted and it's all it's already been woven into the system, the results of the game. Or you could say, no, I want everything. I want to calculate, and I want to do all these negative modifiers and positive modifiers and all this. It's just what you want out of the game. So, I'm fine with saying, you know what? They don't really. This guy's a 321 hitter, so they're not going to play really. They're not going to play totally in. They don't know what he's going to do yet. I don't know if he's going to swing away. They have a feeling he's going to bunt, but that's already woven into the game. So I'm going to roll a dice because he's going to have 2 chances to fail on the bunt. The first one's going to be right here. I'm going to use a different colored die. First one is this: you got to do 5 or less to lay it down. They call it lay it down. It's going to tell you who's going to field the ball. Okay, it's a 3. That goes to the first baseman, right? I'm just guessing, but I think I'm right on that. Let's see. I don't think I want to check. It's not that important, but hit run chart bunt. All right, the 3 is going to go to the first baseman. I was right. A 1, 4, and 6 goes to the pitcher. A 5 goes to the third baseman, which makes sense. There's only really 4 guys that field the bunt. Okay. Second baseman, shortstop, I'm not going to be fielding the bunt. All right, so he lays it down to the first baseman. Now, is it going to be a fielder's choice? Is my next question. Could be a double play. So if it's a 5 or less, right? If it's let's see. So the second one, if it's greater than sacrifice, then its lead runner is out, which I like, because those are the things that mostly happen on bunts. All right, so let's see what happens here. It's a good bunt, and it's going to be a good bunt. So both runners are going to move up. And it could have been the lead runner. I could have gotten the guy at third base, by the way. So that's going to be a sacrifice, big play. He's going to get high fives from the bench for a ground ball to the, maybe 3-4. We can make it 3-4. So it's a ground ball to the first baseman, turns around and fires it to the second baseman covering first. That's going to put runners on second and third. And we are going to intentionally walk Dwight Evans. We're going to intentionally walk Dwight Evans to load the bases, and we're going to bring the infield in for Doug Rader, or Dave Rader, excuse me. Dave Rader. There is a Doug Rader as well, I believe. All right, so it's going to be Dave Rader. Now, Dave Rader batted .328. Ouch. I don't know if we, but he's a lefty. So, but he's good against righties. So he makes outs on 25 and 26. See that? There's your splits. That makes a big difference. Okay, that makes a big difference here. Believe it or not, because those are going to turn into outs. Then you have these that could turn into outs as well. So you got opportunities for outs here. Lacey's an A. What you got to watch out for is that 31. That 31's a killer. So now I'm thinking, should I walk Evans? I could, back up in time. I could hit rewind. Should I walk Evans? Pitch to Evans, walk Rader, and pitch to Burleson. And let's see. Let's look at because there's no way that Evans bats that high. He bats 266 compared to that's 70 points difference. But he does get a hit versus lefties. But you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna pitch it to I'm gonna pitch to Evans. I'm gonna pitch to Evans, and then I'm gonna walk Raider and pitch to Burleson if I get that opportunity. I don't know. He may get a hit here, or he may hit a sacrifice fly, but I can still pitch to walk Raider. And so there's one out. Runners on second and third. The score is 3-2 A's. So the A's are trying to prevent. This is where the game really slows down in the later innings, especially in a situation like this. So it's going to be Evans. We're not going to walk. So it looked like they were going to walk Evans. And I wrote it into my scorecard, but now Billy Martin is saying, no, pitch to him. So then the umpire is looking back at Martin and saying, hey, are you going to make up your mind? And Martin says, no, we're pitching to him. All right, so let's do that. Let's pitch to Dwight Evans. We're going to play the infield in, and we are going to use the chart on this. Here goes. So we need a strikeout here from Lacy, and Dwight Evans does strike out, especially on 16, 21, 23. And on some numbers, 56, 61, 62, 63. So we need one of those. Oh, and it's a 64. Oh, we just missed a strikeout. It's going to be an out, and it's going to be a 4. So that, I believe, is a ground ball to the second baseman. Ground ball 4. And the infield is in. See what it says there? It says hold. All right, so that's going to be ground ball to second base. That's Klutz. Klutz looks the runner back to third, throws to first, and that is out number 2. What a huge out. Now we're going to walk Raider intentionally, and we're going to pitch to Burleson. Burleson's 1 for 4 today, but he's a 278 hitter versus a 328 hitter. But he's a righty. And he does get a hit versus a lefty. So what we can do right now, but we have, you see, the danger of bringing a righty in is what if I roll a C? Let me see. Oh, look at this. Jeff Jones' C is better than, is the same as Bob Lacey's A, almost. Actually, let's see, his C versus the same, 31-36. Jones, with the bases loaded, has a couple more walks. Yeah, we don't want that. Actually has a bunch more walks, and he has a wild pitch and a walk. That's not good. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to let Lacy face Burleson because that would be ugly. So he doesn't have good control, it seems. All right. So let's see what happens here. The bases are loaded. There's 2 outs. The Oakland A's and Bob Lacey need 1 out to win the game 3-2. The tying run is at third. The go-ahead run is at second here in the top of the 9th inning. And Rick Burleson, he's a right-handed hitter. He's going to be facing Bob Lacey, a left-handed relief pitcher. And here it is. Here we're going to roll. And that is a 21. That may do it. That may be the ball game. It is an out and a 5. It's a ground ball. He's a righty, so that's going to be a ground ball to the third baseman. And we're going to get Gross to step on the bag for the force, and that is the ball game. A force out to 5, and that looks like a fielder's. We're going to make that a fielder's choice because it looks like just steps on the bag, and that's the ball game. Wow, we just got out of that one. And as you can see, I mean, I pretty much did everything I could to get them to. So no runs on 1 hit. The final score in this long game. This has been a 2-hour. I did waste about 20 minutes, which I have to go back and delete. I will delete the first 20 minutes of this stream. Was where I made a huge mistake, and there's a couple of guys here with me. They're still around. Bears Den have been here for 2 hours, and but this is the final score: the A's 3, the Red Sox 2. And as you can see, a great game, great pitching matchup. Let's now I'm going to look at some of the hits, and I'm going to do some fun stuff I do, and you guys know that I'm known for that. Every so often, not all the time, I'll grab my colors, my and I just sharpen them all. So what I do is I kind of figure out how many hits in the game. I'm going to input all this into iScore to keep my stats for me. I don't keep any stats manually. And so far we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, 6, 7 hits, 8 hits, right? So the A's had 8 hits. Now the actual score of this game was 4-1 A's. This one is going to be a 3-2 A's victory. 8 hits and no errors for the Oakland A's that I can see. Nope, no errors. In reality, look, no errors for the A's, 2 errors for the Red Sox. How many hits in reality? With 6, Boston with 6. Let's see how many they got here. 1 there. That's 2. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hits. So for the Red Sox, it's 2 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors. The A's, 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors. And now what I do with the yellow, I do all the base on balls. That's the next one we got to do. Just to kind of, and it's easier to see for me. It just gives me a better idea what happened in the game, and allows me to go over the game in my head as well. Here they walk. There's a couple of walks in that 3rd inning where Torres lost it there. The next game is going to be Dennis Eckersley versus, I believe, Brian Kingman. Or yeah, I think it's Brian Kingman. So that's it. I got 2 errors up there, and I only see 1 error on the scorecard. It's weird. Oh, there may have been a ball that oh yeah, there was an error where he got a second at bat. There was an error on the, I didn't write who the error was on. I think it was on the catcher or on the 3rd baseman. I think it was an error on the 3rd baseman where he dropped a foul ball. There was an error on the 3rd baseman. It was on Butch Hobson. He dropped the foul ball, I believe. But I don't keep those stats anyway. So the next thing I do is the strikeouts. So I do the strikeouts in red. So SDG is the next one that needs to try out Fall Classic Baseball. We got almost everybody trying it out and playing some games. Appa Brian, RJL played some games. Bleacher Bums played some games. ID Jester hasn't been around lately. He went back to wargaming. He's really primarily a wargamer, but he does a lot of helpful stuff for the community. He does a lot of cool tutorials and stuff. But I haven't seen him around in the last week or 10 days. Maybe I missed it, but I usually get to see it. I get notified when he does stuff. So everybody's trying. Now SDG has to try it. But I know SDG is doing some basketball. He's doing different things. But so is Bleacher Bums Gaming. Bleacher Bums Gaming is doing some soccer. I think he's doing some football, like gridiron football. So we got a bunch of strikeouts here. Keo's got 6 strikeouts so far. And he was relieved over here. He went 8 innings. Keo's going to get the victory. That's nice. So Keo gets the victory. And Lacey is going to get the save. Bergmeyer came in. I like the older seasons because I don't have to make as many pitching changes. Every so often I'll make 3 or 4 pitching changes, but that's highly unusual. That's maybe 1 game in 10. Now I do the ground balls. I do the ground balls in brown. Do the ground balls. That was a ground ball there. The fielder's choice to end the game to the 3rd baseman. There we go. And there's another ground ball. It's a sacrifice. Sacrifice your ground balls. Then I do the fly balls. or balls in the air in blue. And again, if it's a good game, I'll do this. If it's a horrible game where I just want to move on, I obviously won't spend time going over the horrible game. But if it was a close game that was exciting, I'll go above and beyond showing it off. You know, if it's a game I really enjoyed, again, I'll go above and beyond showing it off. And I'll do a recap on one of the websites, one of the groups. I've got more pencils, so sometimes they get damaged, but I got more pencils, new ones. So I'm doing all the fly balls right here, and we're going to finish up with some very cool stuff. Let's do that. And let's do the fly balls here. Oh, I'm going to do the fly balls in light blue. This whole inning were fly balls. Look at that. A line out to right field and then 2 fly outs to center. Another fly out to center there. And let's see. So get this a little bit lower. All right, that's going to be it. All right, so you can see pretty much Keogh had 6 strikeouts. He walked a little bit later on after the 16th. He walked one batter. He gave up a leadoff double here, and then since we had a big lefty hitter, we decided to bring in Lacey. Plus, I didn't want to just put everything on. I have a tendency to overuse my starters, and that's when they end up getting beat up. So he had a great game. He allowed only 2 runs in the whole game, and that was Remy. Pesky Remy got picked up 2 doubles. So let's look at the fly balls here, or balls in the air. It's not just fly balls, it's line drives and pop-ups as well get blue. Any outs in the air are going to get a blue color. It's a grounder to shortstop. There's a pop-up to 6. 2 outs here. There's a line out there. And it's a ground out there. So now I'll do the ground outs. Errors I leave alone. I don't touch errors. I just leave them blank. I did sacrifice a couple of times. I sacrificed here. I sacrificed there. I usually sacrifice 1 or 2 times a game, generally, not always. Depends on the score. Hit and run, I'll hit and run once or twice. I think I hit and run once in this game, maybe none. I don't know. Maybe I forgot to do it. It depends on the situation. If there's nothing happening, I don't know. I'll remember. Sometimes I don't remember. If I do it with one team, I try to do it with the other team. But that's it here. Oh wait, we got another one here. We got a ground out. We missed a ground out. We missed 2 ground outs. So the toughest inning for Torres was in this 3rd inning where the A's scored 2 runs. And then it was the big hit that came off Armas. It was Wayne Gross who made it to second base when Mitchell Page hustled, try to stretch it, take the extra base on a single. In other words, Mitchell Page reached on an error, and then Wayne Gross singled, and Page tried to take the extra base on a ball hit to left field. Jim Rice threw him out of third. This is when Gross went to second on the throw to third, which is very cool. And then, of course, the next batter, Armas. And then we had another risk play at home. And so these are 2 risk plays, basically. An R there, you can put that there, and a risk play there. And that really made the difference. But there are risks worth taking. There were actually 50-50 chances. But this is the Billy Ball A's, so you got to take more risks. So taking the risks ended up paying off for us. And that really is the 2 main innings that stood out. Now, for the Red Sox, it was Jerry Remy in the 4th and Jerry Remy in the 6th. He led off with a double both times. And one time he was driven in by Yastrzemski. Another time he was driven in by Rice, the 2 big guys. And Tony Perez was squeezed in the middle. He didn't have a good day. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And And that's the loss is going to go to Torres. No, you know what? Wait a second. Yeah, loss goes to Torres. Win goes to Keogh. Save is going to go to Lacey. Picks up a big save. And that's about it. What I do to finish this thing off before I take a picture of it, and then I pull out here's Matty Keogh. He had a great game, so I'll grab his card right there. You see that? And I'll take a picture of that. And then the way I do this. Now all this is also going to go into iScore as well. So this is like an event. Some games are an event. Other games, if I'm not in the mood, or it was just a game I'm not excited about. I like it because it was a close game. I like pitching duels. You know, I'm a big fan of Seaver. I like that period because games are always within reach. It's not like 19 to 12. I hate that. And I do that, and that's about it. Now I start taking pictures of everything. So actually, I'm gonna put Matty Keogh into the stadium. Take a picture of that. So this is the inner workings of the mad scientist. Then I'm gonna take a picture of the scoreboard. Right? Get on top of that right there. Final score, so you can really see it. And here's a loser. That's Mike Torres. Takes the loss. So, and we're going to take a good picture of the scorecard. Even though I didn't put the data in for the pitchers, I should do that. So I have a tendency to do that. I don't put So Keogh went 8. And he gave up how many hits? He gave up 8 hits. No home runs. 2 runs, 2 earned runs. And walks, he only walked 1 and struck out 6. And then Lacey walked 2. No strikeouts there, but he does get a save. So win and a save. And Torres went 7 2/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gave up 8 hits, no home runs, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, base on balls, 2 base on balls, strikeouts, 2 strikeouts. And Bergmeyer just went 1/3 of an inning. 0.1, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0. Now I can take a picture. And of course, Torres takes the loss. All right, so let's do that. And then I got a bunch of other fields. I got pictures of the fields of Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum. And I got a lot of other stuff. So this is CP Cards and Dice. I just showed you the, hey, Keith White, welcome, my brother. He's had a lot of complete games that year. They did have a lot of complete games. Yes, they did. Absolutely. And they guys had complete games, giving up, I think, 8 runs. I saw Norris with an 8-run complete game where he gave up 8 runs. So sometimes, even when they were getting beat up a little bit, they stayed in there. But Norris had a really low ERA that year. He had a 2.40, 2.50 ERA. And the next game for me is going to be this guy, Brian Kingman. There he is. Brian Kingman, and then I have stats, which these numbers are so small, it's hard to see. So I use my Sherlock Holmes. He had almost a 4 ERA, walked 82 in 200 innings. Gave up how many hits? It doesn't tell you how many hits. It doesn't say the hits. It says the walks and the strikeouts, 116 strikeouts. Game started 30, complete games 10. So Brian Kingman doesn't complete that many games. But Langford completed games from, I think, May to September. He was never relieved once, all the way from May to September. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So Brian Kingman is going to be the next starter. And I got to print out. I actually printed those out. Let me pull it. Okay, let's see. This is the next. So it's going to be Dennis Eckersley versus Brian Kingman. These are the lineups. I used It's called Brondo, I think. Not Hondo, but Bron. Let me look real quick. It's the Sim Research website. Sim Research website, and let me look. Oh, there it is. Yeah, now it's called Rombo. That's what it's called. It's called Rombo. Ron Bernier. And it's called Rombo's Replay Tracking Materials. Baseball Sim Research. That's where I got that. It says right here at the top of the page. So the reason I print out two now, I print out two because I'm playing the same season, the same games with two different systems. I'm playing with replay. So this will be my my fall. I was writing a different company name, different game name. Fall Classic Baseball Replay, and this is my Replay Classic from 1980. I'm using the old boards, the old cards, everything. And I haven't showed any of those games because I'm still relearning the system. Once I get it a little bit faster, I feel more confident, then I'll start showing some of those games, which are going to be very highly enjoyable for old school guys who remember playing that, or just, it takes you back. It's really a lot of fun. That's actually, you know what? I'm reading a book called Billy Ball, and I can answer that. The attendance numbers were horrific. Once they lost all their, big name guys, including Vita Blue, and I think he left in '78. That was it. In '79, they lost over 100 games, right? The A's lost over 100 games. By '80, they hired Billy Martin. And in '79, they had horrific attendance. The stands were empty all the time. There's actually one of the guys that comes here. Let me answer Captain Carl in a second. One of the guys that comes here, I can't remember his name. He told me, "Oh yeah, I went to a bunch of those games, and for like $1, I could move behind the plate. I would give the usher. There was nobody in the seats. The ballpark was empty, and he gave the usher $1, and he moved behind the plate." Because and all that the ballpark was always empty. But there's a big turnaround. By 1980 in Billy Ball, everything turns around. They actually win. They go 83 and 79. The Oakland A's do, and they have a huge improvement in attendance, ginormous. So Keith White, you're absolutely right. When by the time towards the late '70s, oh man, it was an ugly scene. It was it was a cemetery at Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Now, Ron, yes, Rombo for Ron Bernier, for a small donation, you get a lot of information. That's true. I will donate because I am using his stuff. I haven't used his stuff, but I also use Digi Dugout. Yeah, of course. Ricky Henderson stole 100 bases, and so he was extremely exciting, and so was Armas, who hit 35 home runs. So he's exciting there. But one other thing I want to say to you, I use digidugout.com, and I'll write it here so you can see it. Right? Digidugout.com. But first of all, I like this font better. That's one thing. And I like the size of the font is much larger. So I can actually see the players a little bit better. And it seems like it gives me more space. It seems like with the other one, let me see the other one. I think I have one here somewhere. Yeah. See, look at this difference in the font. Look at that. That's really tiny. You see that? Look at Rod Carew's name and Jerry Rummy's name. Look at Carew, like right there. And then Jerry Rummy. It's just really small for me. And I feel the boxes are way smaller. Look at that box and look at that box. This is almost twice the size. So that's why I flipped over to, I'm using Rombo's stuff now. And he's getting good publicity because this is still good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I thank these guys every day that they have a lot of information. And they're actually, it's easier for me. Like on this website, it's easier to get to the box score. On this website, it's harder to get to the box score. But the font is bigger for me. I'm not crazy about all this. I don't like the way that's set up. but I don't care. I just like the fact that I can see the players better and there's more space to me to write into the boxes. That's really what makes a difference for me. So again, I'm not going to nitpick every negative that I find. I'm just going to be thankful that I can see. And, you know, there's one thing that I notice about, aging. The older you get, it's like things that used to bother you when you were younger and you would like go nuts, right? Now it's like they just slide right off because you're like, hey, at least I'm alive to like see it. You know what I'm saying? You're not like freaking out over stuff that you can't control. Like when you're young, you freak out over. You think you want to control every little thing, and now you're just glad that even if it's good or bad, you're just glad you're alive to see it. You're like, hey man, I'm still around to see it. A lot of guys aren't. A lot of guys have passed on before us. So hopefully, there's no wood around, but there's wood beams in the wall. Let me find one. Is every 18 inches. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's it. So I gave you lots of information, behind the scenes stuff, what I'm doing, and so you're a part of it and you know what's going on. And this is it. So I'm going to play another full classic. Well, actually, no, I can't play any more full classic or any more replay tonight. I have to play 3 games with. Actually, I could play it tomorrow. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take about an hour, 2-hour break, probably watch a horror film or something, or some kind of movie that I like. And then I will come back and play I have with time travel baseball. I'm in the league, so I got to play 3 games, 3 home games. It's going to be Seaver, and it's going to be Langford, and it's going to be Higbee. You get players from all different eras, and I probably will stream one of those games. I recommend you watch it so you see how time travel baseball plays. It's a fun game. It's easy to play. It's a lot of drama. It's all about drama. There's a deck of cards, and that gives you lots of drama. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, this is CP Cards and Dice, and I thank all the guys that have been on here. I've been on here a while. I have to get rid of about 15 minutes of the beginning of this, but the rest of it is going to be there. Bears Den, thanks for stopping by. Appa Brian, and check out his stuff. Bleacher Bums Gaming, great stuff. He's working on a game of his own, which we're going to support. Community will support that game. Bears Den, and I think I mentioned Bears Den already. Let's see. Towards the end, Captain Carl stopped by. Welcome. Who else was here? STG Replays. We want him to try out. You can try it out for $20. You can get PDF. I don't know if you like PDFs. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Now remember, guys, I'm not always going to watch your streams if you're not doing baseball. Sometimes I'll stop by and say hello, but I'm not going to be watching streams because I'm pretty much a baseball guy. I watch a little bit of football. If you play my '86 Giants, I will watch a little bit of that. I think one day it was somebody who was playing that. I think it was a Red Sox fan. And I'm also a fan of dice. So if you're playing a lot of computer stuff, I don't watch that very often. So I'm just it's nothing personal. It's just I may change. Next year I may be like at every one of your soccer games. But Captain Carl, Keith White came at the end, and we talked about the Oakland A's a little bit. What is the record now? Oh, for this, I believe, you know what? That's in, I can tell you because I'm keeping all the stats with iScore. But this is the 4th game I've played. All right, so I believe they are 2-2, but let's look. All right, let's exit out real quick. I got to put all this information that I just showed you. I got to put it into iScore, and I have some tutorials on iScore too. You should be using iScore. It's really easy. Keeps track of all your stuff. Let's see. My dogs may still be outside. I got to go check on them. Yeah, they're outside. I got to go check on them. So let me see my. Let's see. A's, 1980 A's. Their record is they're 4-0. Look at that. They beat the Red Sox 3-2. They beat them again 3-2 today. They beat the Indians 4-2, and they beat the Indians in the first game I played 3-1. So they are 4-0. Look at that. That will not remain that way. You know, it's just the luck of the beast, or the luck of the draw, the nature of the beast. And I will see you guys super soon. This is Tony Porter with Cards and Dice TV, out.